Hi, everyone. We're joined today by Dr. Brad Cartwright. He is an historian of the 19th century United States. He's a professor here at UTEP, and he's the director of the Center for History, Teaching, and Learning. So, Dr. Cartwright, thank you for being with us.
Of course.
So today I wanted to talk a little bit about citizenship with you in the early 19th century. In class, we've talked about a certain debate that has arisen within citizenship studies about whether citizenship is something that you do, something that you participate in, or whether it is something that you are, something that is a status. And so I was wondering if you could tell us about citizenship in the early 19th century. Was it either of those, or was it both?
I tend to think that it was a little bit of both. I do think citizenship is something that you do at a basic level in terms of you vote, you pay taxes, you partake in the economic, political, civic, social benefits of that society as a citizen. I also think that in many ways it's a public performance. It's something that you do to be accepted by members of your community. I think it's something that you do if you want to demonstrate patriotism. I think it's something that people that are not citizens look at as something that they can do to sort of practice for citizenship. But I also think that in many ways it's who you are, in the sense that citizenship has been used in the United States since the very beginning to exclude people from the process based on race or gender or class or any number of reasons.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's a fascinating and sometimes very defined term, and also an elastic term that
Right.
can be used in different ways for different reasons.
Right. I like that word, elastic. Great. So thank you for that. Now, just one more question about this idea of citizenship and how it functioned as both something you do and something that you were in the early 19th century. Did that change over time? Was it different, say, right after the Revolution? Would it become something different later on in the 19th century?
I think it does change over time, which is important that we historicize these terms because they don't mean the same thing in all contexts. I mean, certainly there's a big transition from the era of the American colonies, the British North American colonies, and the post-revolutionary America. I mean, you have people moving from subjects of the British Crown to citizens of a nation. As we know the story, the American colonists, many were very frustrated because of the lack of political or economic power that they had under the British Crown as subjects in this very rigidly hierarchical society. And so as they fought for their independence, they're taking in these ideas of republicanism, these burgeoning notions of democracy, and among the leadership in American society, in colonial society, many of them hoped to create, in their minds, was a republic that would be governed by enlightened gentry, enlightened citizens, if you will, who would rely on civic virtue, not kingly power or divine power, but civic virtue, where they could put aside their own private interests for the common good. But I think what happened in that process is that the people who fought alongside these founding fathers, these leaders, they got the notion of democracy in their mind, and they wanted the ability to participate in American society in ways that they hadn't been able to participate before. And in some ways, I guess you could say that these burgeoning notions of republicanism, they let the Democratic genie out of the bottle. And people weren't willing to give up the ability to participate in society in ways that they hadn't done before. Now, early American political leadership, they were able to cap this in certain ways. That we have the Naturalization Act of 1790 that limited who could become a citizen to free white persons of good moral character, I believe. But even that excluded women. And so immediately, as American society is coming together, we see that citizenship is being limited to free white men. But interestingly enough, we begin to see more, this continuation of this desire for democracy. And so from pressure from below, we begin to see tax-paying requirements, property holding requirements for voting, that kind of thing. They're being eased or removed entirely. And so we have a larger voting constituency than you would see in most places at this time. But still, it was limited to white men.
Right.
But of course, women, people of color, they are going to use the words that those founding fathers created in the Declaration of Independence to fight for their own equality and to fight for their citizens' rights in the United States. And that's much of what the rest of American history has been about.
Right. Even up into the 20th and in some cases 21st century.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. We have the debate going on right now about birthright citizenship. And so, these conversations, they carry back from these early moments, and they're with us today.
Yeah. Wow. Fascinating. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Cartwright, for being with us today and talking with me a little bit about citizenship.
Of course. It was fun.
Awesome.